Good morning, everybody. You are currently listening to a Tall Girls podcast hosted by a tall girl named India. I hope everyone who's tuning in today is doing super fantastic. Before I get into this episode, I do want to say make sure you're following me on my socials at a Tall Girls podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest so that you can stay up to date on all of the latest podcast episodes and catch a glimpse of my everyday life. Also, feel free to leave me a review and let me know how tall you are. I'm genuinely curious. And make sure you're subscribed to my newsletter. Everything is going to be linked in the description. Y'all, it's a bit chilly in here this morning. Oh my gosh, fall is falling. Well, at least on this side of the world. Now, today's topic, we are talking about tall girl stereotypes. You know the comments like, wow, you must play basketball. Oh my gosh, you're so intimidating. Are you a man? Let me stop because that's not even funny. But I'm sure that if you're a tall girl, you have been stereotyped like this one way or the other. And this episode is for you. Today, we're going to be talking about common stereotypes of tall women, bringing awareness to them, and also talking about the harsh truths about them and how they can affect our confidence and our self-image. But first, let's start off with what a stereotype is. Yes, I wrote this down because I knew that I was not going to remember it. A stereotype is a widely held yet oversimplified and generalized belief or idea about a particular group of people. And so basically when you see somebody who I guess you could say is classified as a certain, like classified into a certain group, you make assumptions on them based on that classification, if that makes sense. So that could be race, that could be gender, that could be height as well. And whether these stereotypes are good or bad, these are often perpetuated by the media and pop culture. And today we're kind of going to focus on that aspect in relation to tall women. And the first one we're going to discuss that is honestly a very big one, in my opinion, a very popular one, is too masculine. The too masculine stereotype often stems from the idea that height equals masculinity. And this is something that is portrayed a lot in pop culture, in the media, etc., that the taller a man is, the more dominant he is seen as, the stronger he's seen as, the more masculine he's seen as. I mean, this is seen all the time in almost every movie and TV shows. It's always that in a relationship or just in general, the guy is going to have to be taller than the woman. And that's how he's seen as masculine in the relationship. And that's how he's seen masculine in comparison to his peers even. Usually the jocks is the biggest one, the tallest one on the football team, basketball team, you name it. But yes, a lot of them are around the same height, but the main one is usually the tallest and the biggest one. So in knowing that, when women are on the taller side, they are not seen as these petite, feminine people. Oftentimes people associate her height with assertiveness and strength and not necessarily beauty and femininity, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Okay, some women do want to be seen that way, and that is great. Kudos to you guys, honestly. But I keep saying time and time again in every single episode that I talk about this is that the idea of masculinity and femininity is an energy, it's a vibe. It's not necessarily a particular physical trait. However, when there are tall women who want to be seen as feminine, this can be an issue because they're placed in this box that they don't want to be in. They're given this label that they don't want to be given simply because of their height. And this also brings up something else that I feel like isn't really talked about as much, and that's calling tall women men or thinking that they were a man. It's crazy the amount of times that tall women have said that they've been called transgender. Like, no tea, no shade if you actually are, you're amazing, but why is this something that we need to make a comment about, especially in a negative way? Let's take a look at this.
This is actually something I've been wanting to talk about because as a tall woman, it really is hard to establish our femininity to the world. People are always constantly, my whole life, I'm always being compared to men. And it's just annoying because here I am, a very feminine person. I love wearing girly things. I'm very much a girly girl. I love dresses. I love heels. I love skirts, that type of thing. So when I'm wearing those things, okay, sure, you could tell I'm a woman, but if I'm not, like, people are automatically assuming something. They're automatically assuming I'm a stud or I'm gay or, just stupid things. And it's just annoying that like the beauty standards, I guess, that we carry in this world is around like short, petite, small women. Just let us breathe, let us be women, let us strive in our feminine energy. Don't try to force us into this corner just because of how tall we are, how big we are. We don't always want to feel like a label is thrown at us when people don't even know us and who we are. Like, I should be able to wear whatever I want and people not assume something just because of how tall I am.
I think a perfect example of this is the artist Zevdaliza. You know the song Alibi, Rosa Kalinda Eres. I know, beautiful, right? I almost sound like her. Anyways, you know that song that's like all over TikTok, or was popular all over TikTok. She is an artist. She is 5'11", I might add. She's 5'11", and she has very strong features, which all make her beautiful. But it's been going around on TikTok, especially. People have been asking her, are you transgender? Are you transgender? Are you a man? Are you a man? Why does it matter? She made an awesome song that's trending still to this day. Why are we still commenting on this? And I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure her height, along with other things potentially, but I'm pretty sure her height does play a role in that. I don't know if she said that she was or she wasn't, but like I said before, it doesn't matter because she makes great music. So anyways, all right, editing India here. I think I found her response.
She looks like a man. Yeah, she does look like a man. Is that a man? Are you sure that's a man? I mean, yeah, she does look like a man. Is she transgender? No, she was pregnant. She had a baby. She looks like a man. Is that a man? Stream alibi.
So this idea of height correlating with masculinity kind of leads to the next stereotype, which is intimidating or very intimidating. And this stereotype comes from the belief that your height makes you unapproachable. And maybe if you mix it with a little bit of a RBF, people are going to be scared to come up to you and talk to you and stuff like that. And I think that this is very commonly seen in the dating world for the most part, because I guess you could say standards, but thank goodness we're changing things. But standards is, yeah, the man usually approaches the woman. The man approaches the woman who he finds attractive and asks her out or something, or asks for a number. I don't know. And, you know, when the girl that he's interested in or wants to talk to wherever he is taller than him, he's less likely to go up to her. Because not only does her height make her stand out, her physical stature make her stand out, it's also kind of like playing into what I said earlier about height equaling masculinity. And when you're towering over people, they're going to be less likely to want to talk to you, especially if they don't know you. It's one thing when they do know you, but it's another thing if they don't know you. And because of your height, people are going to see you as more dominant, more physically dominant, even stronger, more powerful. And people have a tendency to want to be around people who are around the same level as them. So if they see you as that, as stronger than them, as more powerful than them, they're not gonna want to approach you. And this goes for dating and even in friendships or even in the professional world. And in my personal opinion, it kind of sucks because physical appearance is now dictating how people interact with you and how people perceive you even. And I also have a hot take. It's no secret that people see tall women as intimidating. But what's interesting and a bit controversial is I've heard that tall black and tall darker skinned women are more likely to be called intimidating. Is that the case? Here's a clip.
What's a wrong assumption about you that people always make? For example, people always...
Okay, so I have two, and they're kind of related, but like kind of opposites. The first is that people on the internet apparently think that I'm like 5'3" or 5'4", which is hilarious because I'm 6 feet tall. No short girl energy here. None at all. And as somebody who, until now, I guess, has never given off short girl energy, I find this hilarious. The other is that when people see me in real life, they're like super intimidated by me and they don't think that I'm really nice. And I think that's partially because I'm 6 feet tall in real life, but also because I'm black. Because I don't hear a lot of like white people getting this super often. And it's ironic because I walk around all day with big old eyeballs and a grin on my face. Like I say hi to every person I meet because I'm like weirdly nice. And yet people always say that they're super intimidated by me the first time that they meet me and that they thought I'd be mean. And while I think it has something to do with me being tall, I also think it has something to do with me being black.
Now, I can't really speak on it because I'm light skinned, but I'm curious to know your thoughts on that. And then now we have the stereotype of athletes or being athletic. And this is extremely common for tall women because I'm pretty sure growing up for much of our lives, we've heard, yeah, do you play basketball? Do you play volleyball? Do you play any sport? Like, what's new about this? But ultimately, people just assume that tall women must excel at sports because of their height. And I get it. Okay, for some sports, especially like basketball and volleyball, your height can be an advantage, but that's not always the case. But people tend to link height with athletic ability, so they just naturally assume that tall women play sports or tall women are good at sports or should at least pursue athletics, which puts a lot of pressure on us, especially when we're younger. And you know how you have like your extracurriculars and your hobbies and stuff, that puts that pressure like, yeah, you should definitely play a sport. And it's kind of like, what if we're not interested in playing that sport? What if we have other interests? And this was kind of something that happened to me growing up. There was a lot of pressure for me to play sports. I have a lot of, medals, trophies, and even posters and awards and stuff relating to the sports that I played over the years. So that pressure was definitely there for me. But, I feel like it's also nice to explore other interests that we may have. That's all I'm gonna say. But sometimes I feel like this idea that tall people should be playing sports ultimately can overshadow other talents. And there's a flip side to this, and it's D1 kids, and not the tall people, the tall women being the D1 kids when they were growing up, but them making D1 kids, if that makes sense. The idea of being with a tall woman to make D1 kids is kind of problematic to me. Like, I get it can be a joke, but some of y'all take this a little too seriously. Not only is it objectifying tall women, but it's also placing this unrealistically high pressure on your child to play sports because of their height. And I've been in that position. And I don't think any child honestly wants to be in that position. It can honestly be a bit stressful at times as a child. And I don't know. I just think that everybody should have the opportunity to try a bunch of different things to explore where their interest actually lies. And if that's in athletics, amazing. And if it's not in athletics, that's also cool. That's also fine. And then lastly, we have Amazon or Amazonian or whatever, which basically is like comparing tall women to the Greek mythological woman warrior. And it basically just emphasizes strength and assertiveness and dominance, which honestly ties to masculinity from earlier. And it can imply that tall women are more aggressive and less feminine. But I think that there are two sides to this term. There are a lot of mixed views on the term Amazon or Amazonian. Like, some see it as an insult and some see it as a compliment. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are about it. But honestly, I do think that there are two sides to this term, Amazon or Amazonian. And, some people could see it as being strong and being confident. And in a different sense, it could also kind of over-sexualize tall women and being this dominatrix in a way, as we've seen in tall girl fan pages. But all in all, in closing, stereotypes often distort reality and reduce tall women to a specific set of traits and capabilities, which can often impact our confidence and our self-image and lead to a lot of judgment from other people and honestly pressure to do things that we don't want to do or pressure to have labels that we don't want to have. So that's my 2 cents on stereotypes, tall girl stereotypes. If you made it this far, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you. As always, feel free to hit me up on my socials at A Tall Girls Podcast, and let's talk more about this topic. What do you think about these tall girl stereotypes? Are there more tall girl stereotypes to add to this list? Have you been called any of these? Like, have you had experience with being put into these tall girl stereotypes? I want to know your thoughts and experiences. So let me know. Hit me up on my socials. It's all going to be in the description. And until then, I'll catch you in the next one. Good night and goodbye.